The Berlin Conference, held from late 1884 to early 1885, was a pivotal assembly of Western European powers, convened with the primary aim of partitioning the African continent to exploit its resources for their own benefit. This conference stands as a landmark event in the annals of colonial history, illustrating the imperialistic drive of European countries to claim territories and thereby gain unhindered access to Africa's abundant natural resources, which included minerals like gold and diamonds, rubber essential for industrial production, and various agricultural products vital to European economies. The Berlin Conference significantly altered the geopolitical landscape of Africa. It sanctioned the formal colonization and division of African territories among powerful European nations, such as Great Britain, France, Germany, Portugal, and Belgium. The decisions made during the conference ignored Africa's existing cultural and political boundaries, leading to the creation of arbitrary borders that often split ethnic and cultural communities or forced diverse groups into artificially created states. These colonial boundaries have had lasting socio-political impacts, contributing to intranational conflict and instability even in the post-colonial era. A vivid example of the resource-driven motives of the European powers can be seen in the case of Belgium's exploitation of the Congo Free State, which was the personal property of King Leopold II. Under his rule, Congo became synonymous with brutal exploitation and human rights abuses. The demand for rubber, fueled by the burgeoning automobile and bicycle industries in Europe and North America, led to the implementation of severe forced labor systems. Indigenous people were coerced, under gruesome conditions, to extract and process rubber. Failure to meet quotas often resulted in horrific punishments, including bodily mutilations. These oppressive practices led to a dramatic population decline in the region, with millions of Congolese victims of violence, famine, and disease, highlighting the brutal extent to which European countries would go to fulfill their resource needs. The legacy of the Berlin Conference is complex. While it facilitated European capital accumulation and industrial growth, it also laid the foundation for significant socio-economic and political challenges in Africa. Beyond resource exploitation, the imposed European systems disrupted traditional governance structures and facilitated the cultural assimilation policies that sought to undermine native identities. Understanding the Berlin Conference's far-reaching impacts requires acknowledging both the immediate benefits reaped by Europe and the long-term consequences for Africa, a continent striving to overcome the legacy of partition and exploitation. To fully exploit Africa's wealth of resources, European powers considered it vital to divide the continent, a process that resulted in the carving out of arbitrary borders without regard for the pre-existing cultural and political landscapes. This division, pursued during the Berlin Conference of 1884-1885, prioritized European interests in accessing Africa's abundant minerals, agriculture, and labor, paying little to no attention to the ethnic and cultural realities of the region. The partitioning of Africa was fundamentally flawed as it disrupted traditional societies. African communities, which had developed complex social, political, and economic systems, found themselves suddenly cleaved or forcibly merged into colonial territories. For instance, the creation of Nigeria by Britain combined distinct ethnic groups like the Hausa Fulani in the north, the Yoruba in the west, and the Igbo in the east into a single colony. These groups had differing governance systems, languages, and cultures, and forcing them into one administrative unit created tensions that laid the groundwork for future conflicts, including the Nigerian Civil War from 1967 to 1970. Similarly, the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, was cobbled together from various ethnic territories, including the Luba, Congo, and Mangbetu Azanda peoples, among others, under Belgian rule. This amalgamation of diverse groups under a single colonial administration not only disregarded cultural differences, but also fostered ethnic strife post-independence. The imposition of new borders also split certain ethnic groups across multiple colonies, further complicating the political landscape. The Yu people, for instance, found themselves divided between French-controlled Dahomey, now Benin, German-controlled Togoland, and British-controlled Gold Coast, now Ghana. This separation weakened traditional alliances and created divided loyalties, making it difficult to achieve political unity after the withdrawal of colonial powers. These artificially drawn borders are a significant reason for the numerous internal conflicts that plague Africa today. The arbitrary lines have created countries with diverse ethnic groups vying for power and resources, often leading to civil wars, as seen in places like Rwanda and Sudan. In Sudan, the northern Arabic-speaking Sudanese were grouped with the black African population in the south, culminating in protracted conflicts that only reached a resolution with South Sudan's independence in 2011. These examples illustrate the lasting impact of colonial border divisions that continue to challenge political stability and national cohesion across Africa. During this period, Germany was a dominant power in Europe under the leadership of Otto von Bismarck, known as the Iron Chancellor. Having successfully unified Germany, Bismarck hosted the Berlin Conference, where the geopolitical fate of Africa was decided. This act was ironic, considering Germany's own recent history of unification, now being a key player in the division of another continent. A significant feature of the Berlin Conference was the haphazard drawing of boundaries that grouped various ethnic groups into single colonial administrations. These imposed boundaries ignored ethnic, cultural, and linguistic realities, leading to lasting tensions. Nations and ethnic groups were also split and placed under different colonial administrations. This arbitrary division weakened ethnic unity and often aligned disparate groups with differing colonial rulers, complicating post-colonial national cohesion. The Bakongo people were partitioned across present-day Republic of Congo, French, Democratic Republic of Congo, Belgium, and Angola, Portugal. This fragmentation led to divided loyalties and complicated political dynamics in the region. In several instances, colonial borders were delineated before European powers completed their conquests, leading to further consolidation efforts. The conquest of the Sokoto Caliphate in northern Nigeria and parts of Cameroon was finalized in 1903 by the British, who then allocated these lands amongst themselves and other European powers, solidifying their control. As part of a deliberate colonial strategy known as divide and rule, some minority ethnicities within the colonies were elevated to positions of power to weaken dominant groups. This approach intensified ethnic rivalries and fostered divisions that would continue to affect political stability after independence. An example includes how the British favored certain ethnic minorities in Kenya and Nigeria to maintain control. Following the formal departure of European powers from Africa, the continent suffered from numerous intrastate conflicts, many of which persisted for decades. These conflicts were a direct consequence of the arbitrary colonial boundaries and ethnic divisions created by the European powers. The tensions often escalated into civil wars, such as those seen in Nigeria and the Democratic Republic of Congo. In Sudan, the imposition of colonial borders that grouped Arabic-speaking populations in the north with black African groups in the south led to long-standing tensions. These tensions sparked North-South wars that only concluded in 2011 with the independence of South. As we conclude our examination of the Berlin Conference and its far-reaching repercussions, it becomes clear that this gathering was not just a meeting of minds, but a crucial turning point that enforced colonial domination. across Africa. The arbitrary borders drawn and the ethnic divisions created during this time significantly contributed to political instability, social conflict, and economic challenges that many countries continue to grapple with today. By understanding the brutal realities of colonialism and its lasting impact, we can better appreciate the complexities of modern African societies and the ongoing struggles for unity and identity. Thank you for watching, and we encourage you to engage with this history, not just as a record of the past, but as a lesson for our collective future. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more narratives that shed light on the complexities of our world history.